Panthers right here in the Whitmer Fieldhouse. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us alongside Brandon Bosch. I'm Brad Woznicki. Tonight, it's about Whitmer's offense versus Findlay's defense. The Panthers averaging right now 81 points a game, while Findlay has yet to give up more than 40.
And it's going to be a battle of strengths, like you said, Whitmer offensively, Findlay defensively, but more so a battle of wills. You have track opponents from a year ago, now meeting in the NLL for an absolutely huge matchup early in the season.
And if the Whitmer Panthers want to continue to make a statement about why they are the preseason favorite in this division, you can expect Antoine West to lead the way. Right now, West averaging better than 23 points a game. He can score from anywhere on the floor.
Yeah, and like you said, he's making a statement early in this season, averaging nearly 24 points a game, and he can do it from three, he can do it from the mid-range, and he can do it from inside. And that's why he has major Division I schools drooling over him, 10 Division I offers that we know of at this point.
And there is no shortage of athletes on the floor here tonight. You go to the Findlay side, you've got Javante Hill, first-team All-Ohio receiver. While on the basketball side, he can also get it done offensively. One of three players averaging in double figures.
Yeah, and he's really stepped up his game now in his senior year. And you look at this Findlay team, and it is that crop of seniors that had a ton of success on the football field. It's carried over here to the basketball court. But really, Javante Hill, I'm impressed with what he's doing. He's really shooting well from three, which is a big step up from a year ago. A very important player for this Findlay team and their success early on in the year.
It's the first of two meetings. Sit back and enjoy this one. Whitmer, Findlay, coming your way next.
Hill, and number 25, Hill Cordonier.
Welcome back to Whitmer Fieldhouse, where the Panthers get ready to take on the Trojans. Whitmer 5-0, Findlay 4-0.
Coached by Anthony Stacy.
Brandon Bosch, as we get ready for this one, let's get into the starting lineups for tonight's game. Starting with the visiting Findlay Trojans. We're going to go with Luke Wyrow, Ben Best, Sam Ernst, Javante Hill, and Will Cordonier. Starting lineups for tonight's game brought to you by Ballas Buick GMC on the Central Avenue Strip, open 24/7 at ballasbuickgmc.com. And for the Whitmer Panthers, this offensively loaded starting five for head coach Anthony Stacy, you have Andre Young III, Elijah McLeod, Makai Leach, Antoine West, and Tylin Patterson. Andre Young and Tylin Patterson both coming over from Emmanuel Christian. Elijah McLeod, one of the new additions from Wauseon. And then Makai Leach, he was a very good talent at Central Catholic, now joining this Whitmer team.
Yeah, and that Whitmer team offensively is absolutely dynamic, like you said, able to score in a variety of ways. And this collection of talent has really been cohesive early in the season so far. You've seen how many points are averaging per game. And this really, like we said in the open, is going to be a test of wills because you've got a Findlay team that is holding most of its opponents sub 50 points a game. And when you're doing that, you know, you face a daunting offense like you're going to in Whitmer tonight. We'll see who comes out on top. Should be a good matchup.
Before we get to the opening tip, how about the keys for tonight's game presented by Buckeye Broadband? And we're going to take you through Findlay's keys first. Findlay, we talked about it, their defense, they got to come in here, take care of the basketball, and execute in the half court.
Absolutely, and I think on top of that, they've got to have a great shooting night, but really it's offensively. They've got to be able to keep up with Whitmer, and we've seen so far this year for Findlay, they've done just enough, but this is a whole different animal. You're going to have to probably get the score somewhere in the 60s for Findlay in order to be able to keep up with this Whitmer Panther team.
Now as the Whitmer Panthers have the basketball, we'll take you through the keys for the Panthers, who have been holding opponents to 58 points a game while putting up 81. You can do the math there. 23-point margin of victory.
Yeah, that's a lot of points, and I think the first one is probably the main one for them. They've got to make Findlay feel uncomfortable. Findlay can feel comfortable offensively and defensively. They're going to really grind this game out, and that is not what Whitmer wants. Whitmer wants to be able to get out and run, like you see there, control the tempo. They want the pace of this game to be quick. They do not want Findlay to turn this into their kind of basketball game.
Antoine West a little bit shaken up on that play. It looked as though Luke Wyrow fell on the leg or the ankle of Antoine West. He's back out on the floor, and Whitmer's going to extend their defense.
And you'll see Whitmer, they like to do this. They like to pick up in full court, not necessarily trying to turn you over, but again, just trying to control the tempo. They want the speed of the game to be quick, and one way you can do that is to speed up guards like they like to do.
Off the catch, Will Cordonier had it knocked out of his hands, and it's up ahead. This is going to be Makai Leach for the slam. What a way to get your first bucket of the ball game.
And you see what quick hands and easy defense leads to a slam dunk at the other end by Makai Leach, the Central Catholic transfer.
Makai Leach averaging better than 17 points a game and almost 5 rebounds a game.
It's really blossomed here at Whitmer. Offensively, I'd say, has always been a very strong defensive player, but he's really been able to come into his own here with a very dynamic lineup around him offensively.
Makai Leach and Antoine West combined for 57 of Whitmer's 78 points. Get one more look at the dunk when Whitmer had that overtime win against Lima Senior down at Lima Senior, and that was a big win for not only just this year's team, but for this Whitmer program, given how good Lima Senior's been. That was the first Panthers win at Lima Senior since 2018.
And it's a really tough place to play, regardless of how good Lima Senior is, but they've got a really talented freshman guard who I think you're going to look back at that victory for Whitmer late in the year, and when Lima Senior really starts to get into form, as they do every year under Coach Quincy Simpson, you know, they're going to be a team that in February and in March is probably going to be hitting their stride, and that victory is going to be looking even better for the Panthers.
Lima Senior, it's been up and down. They had that loss to Scott at Scott, but then, as we said, you lose by 4 in overtime to Whitmer in what was a showdown that a lot of people were treated to a great one.
Yeah, it's been consistently, I think, this year early for Lima Senior has plagued them, and obviously they're making that transition to the City League as well, which is, you know, shown some new matchups, but there's a guy who knows just about every matchup around in Northwest Ohio.
Season number 25 for Jim Rookie, a record of 368 and 184. His team so far on the season, we noted, has not given up more than 40 points in a game. They've gone through Defiance, Clay, Springfield, and most recently Anthony Wayne. That was a 30-point win over the Generals. It's the three, no good, and trying to tip it out. We're going to get a Findlay foul. This one going against Ben Best, and there is Anthony Stacy, season number 4 for the Bowling Green State University alum. Second all-time on the scoring list there after being passed by a guy he recruited in Justin Turner. And for Whitmer, this is just their second home game. Excited to be back in their home gym after kind of the tests that they've gone through. They started the season with Napoleon. We mentioned the game against Lima Senior. Had a dominant win over Clay. Saw Glenville and won by 37. And then most recently, Tuesday night, got it done at Perrysburg, 84-57. In that game against Perrysburg, the Jackets led by 2 at the end of the first. Whitmer by 6 at half. Panthers then led by 17 at the end of the third and went on to win by 27. The big run in that game for Whitmer was the 8-2 run to close the second quarter. That gave them momentum going into the second half.
And Perrysburg lost a lot of talent from a year ago. However, I still don't think that's a slump of a win. You look at it, and Perrysburg's a team that's really given Whitmer problems over the last few years. So that victory and getting that monkey off your back, you know, hypothetically speaking, they did a great job in doing that. And like you said, especially after having a really tough start, it seemed like, okay, here we go again. But, man, they really got it rolling in the second quarter and then pushed that lead, extended it into the third, and really just absolutely blitzed the Yellow Jackets.
Sam Ernst bringing it up the floor. And trying to get a hand in there to knock it free. That's going to be a personal foul going against Tylen Patterson, the 6'3" junior.
And the foul number 23, Tylen Patterson, his first, 2 seconds.
On the inbounds, that's going to be an easy layup for Javante Hill. And it took almost 3 minutes, but Findlay's on the board.
And that's, at times Whitmer, because of how much pressure they try to put on the basketball, they'll give up a cheap bucket here or there just because of how they like to play defense and they really want the tempo to be quick. You'll see that from time to time where it looks like someone just ends up wide open, more so a product of how they play defense than necessarily a breakdown.
There's West in the corner, guarded by Luke Wyrow. Wyrow's got to be careful he doesn't get out too high on West to open up the lane. Nice bounce pass underneath. Patterson, though, could not put it in. And Javante Hill able to go up and get the rebound, then he was dragged to the floor.
I think that was Patterson on the foul there, and he is just about as physical a specimen as you can get. The Emmanuel Christian transfer had a great football season for Whitmer as well at the safety position. Again, another one of those guys that's really starting to blossom offensively under Coach Stacy.
Underneath, good find, Ryan Montgomery. Attacking, Wyrow tries to bully his way inside, and he gets it done for Luke Wyrow. You know about what he's also done on the football field. Third-team All-Ohio defensive back. Well, offensively, he does a little bit of everything for this team. He averages just over 10 points a game, but he also 4 assists and 4 boards.
Well, I feel like we've been calling games with Wyrows in them for Findlay for what seems like a decade. I remember a game at St. John's where I believe it's going to be his older brother was an absolute menace inside at all of 6 foot in the post and gave St. John's all kinds of problems. So that family built different, built tough.
Javante Hill ran right into the defender, taking the charge. Tamarion Davis.
It's nice to have a kid like Tamarion Davis. You see him here step up defensively, taking the charge, really.
He earned that goal.
Yeah, and he's a guy whose role has changed this year. A starter a year ago is now coming off the bench with the talent that they have at Whitmer.
Cordonier got a hand in there to disrupt Elijah McLeod, and the ball's going back to Findlay.
Maybe some winter break jitters here early. Both these teams, I'd say, probably not off to the ideal start, but if you're Findlay, you've kept the score low, which is what you want to do. For Whitmer, you really wanted this game to get off to a quick start, and it has not.
So Findlay group that returned 4 starters, 6 letter winners. They've got 6 seniors. Their entire starting 5, all seniors. Pull-up game for Wyrow. Can't knock it down. And West looking for a quick outlet. Andre Young gets in the paint, is blocked. Cordonier got his hand on it. Going to take it all the way in. Cordonier's layup. Findlay on a 6-0 run after it took till about the 5-minute mark for the Trojans to get on the board. Got to love this start for the Trojans as we get our first timeout, brought to you by Genoa Bank. We take your banking needs personally. What have you liked from Findlay so far?
Well, I've liked the patience offensively, and you see there Cordonier just really doing a nice job of attacking the rim. And Findlay's done a nice job of kind of picking their chances of when to get out in transition. They've really taken good care of the basketball as well. I think they're going to have to do that. They can't give up, those easy transition buckets. You saw the dunk from Mekhi Leach. Now the only points that Whitmer has, they've had no easy looks, has Whitmer. Everything's been challenged at the rim. Findlay's doing a nice job, and we see why they've been so productive defensively. A lot of, I hate to say it, tough team guys. I don't want to hate to say it, but it's a great look for both these teams. You've got major Division I football players that you're bringing off the bench that I think allows you to be tough, allows you to be physical. But so far, Findlay really controlling the tempo. He's done a nice job offensively with patience. We'll see if Whitmer can pick the speed up here.
As we get back to the action, I want to remind you that tonight's live game is brought to you by Dave White Chevrolet. For the number 1 buy with the number 1 guy, the place to go is Alexis and Monroe. Dave White Chevrolet. See all the great deals at DaveWhiteChevy.com. This is Mekhi Leach in the corner, guarded by the future Division I quarterback Ryan Montgomery. Marion Davis over to West. Good switch there. Wyrow out on West. And West lost the handle. Tied up with Wyrow. And we get a jump ball. Possession arrow to the Trojans.
And Wyrow was informing West there of something. It's great defense by Wyra just to keep West in front of him. And you'll see at times when West struggles offensively, it's a lot of one on everybody. And when they get out of the flow of offense where they're moving the basketball around, I think that's when Whitmer starts to get into some offensive lulls at times. So move the basketball. You're very dynamic offensively. I think Wyra's probably going to get a firm talking to here potentially just about the conversation that transpired after that tie-up.
He loves to compete. He's a University of Findlay football commit. And Leach out to West. Findlay fans wanted to travel. And West looked like he thought about letting that one go.
And it's nothing crazy from Findlay defensively. It's man-to-man defense. They're just making everything difficult.
Top of the arc three off the back rim. Andre Young, second chance, no. And trying to get out of trouble too much with the hands. We're going to get a Whitmer foul. That's coming down with the board with Sam Ernst.
And this is something else I think you're going to really learn a lot about Whitmer here tonight. As much as, we want to talk about Findlay as well. What happens when somebody starts to make you uncomfortable? What happens when things don't go your way? Like we said, there's a lot of new faces here at Whitmer. How do they gel together with their first time facing some adversity against a big-time opponent in Findlay?
Nearing the 2-minute mark here in the opening quarter. Wyrau gets in the paint, pulls up, gets it to drop. Wyrau has 4 of the Findlay 8 points.
And for how difficult it's been for Whitmer to get things going offensively for Findlay the last few possessions, they've just gotten straight down the lane.
Ball was knocked away from West. Cordonier the other way. Gets in the lane and is fouled for Whitmer. That is team foul number 5.
And Cordonier again shows why he's averaging 17-ish points a game. Was an absolute dynamo from 3 a year ago, has diversified his game. Look at that attack. The Eurostep trying to split the defense.
It's the first free throw, and Cordonier almost at 20 points a game on the season. Free throw line, he struggled a bit, but also hasn't gotten there a ton. He's 6 of 12, now 7 out of 13 after that first make. Tack on one more there. It's the Trojans by 8.
We'll see if Whitmer can find an answer offensively to this man-to-man defense from Findlay.
This time it's knocked away from Leach, and Javante Hill going to try and throw it down. He was challenged by West. A couple more free throws coming up, and Javante Hill could not believe he didn't throw that one down.
And that was going to be offensive if that went down, because
he would have wanted a copy of a poster there.
I think a lot of Findlay people would have wanted a copy of that poster there.
Yeah, it would have been all over social media. Can't convert on the first free throw. Javante Hill this season at the free throw line, now 8 out of 12.
And I think a good move here to get Wyrau on the bench a little extra time, but he has been an absolute disruptor. He's gotten his hands on it. Feels like everything. Whitmer's tried to drive the lane, and it seems like space that just closes so quickly. Kudos to Wyrau. We'll see if Whitmer can have some kind of offensive answer here. They've got to move the basketball. They've got to get some kind of cutting action going to the rim. Right now, a lot of standing around.
If the Panthers can't get a bucket here, Findlay's going to have a chance to go up double digits, and there is a Panthers turnover. Miscommunication between Makai Leach and Damian Clay.
And they just seem out of sorts. We knew earlier in the week they'd had some kids who were kind of in and out of practice with a little bit of sickness. You wonder if that plays a role into it so far. Maybe you didn't have everyone available all week. But they have just not looked the same so far this half, this quarter.
Panthers get a takeaway. Can they take advantage? Well, they're able to maintain the possession. Over to Leach. Now West, corner 3. They're trying to come down with the rebound. Ernst got underneath to Marion Davis.
And I think that's a foul that you can live with if you're Coach Rookie. trying to be physical underneath, limit the second chance opportunities, and it doesn't put Whitmer at the line.
Fourth team foul. Good job by Tamarion Davis to get in position for that board before being knocked to the baseline.
He really did a great job of positioning himself well.
Another shot that won't go in the paint. It's either been turnovers or the inability to finish right now for Whitmer.
And just no second chance opportunities. Finley's done a great job of rebounding the basketball.
When you and I touched on that, we're breaking down the stats for Findlay coming in. They only allow their opponent to get about 40 shots a game.
And I know that seems like a lot, but that is not.
You're talking 10 a quarter. And 10 seconds remaining here in the first. Ryan Montgomery doubled. Ball knocked loose. 2 seconds. Going to get a shot up. Findlay got one more chance there. Well, Whitmer may have had the first bucket in this game, but it's Findlay going to the second with a 9-point advantage. So far, 3 different Trojans have scored. Findlay on the road in good position early.
This BCSN broadcast is brought to you by Car Stereo, one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs. Turtle. And by Bowling Green State University, a public university for the public good. Visit bgsu.edu to learn more.
Well, Jim Rookie sees his Findlay Trojans in front by 9 after the first 8 minutes of play. It hasn't been, as you pointed out, as we've noted, a lot of opportunities for Whitmer when they haven't taken advantage right from the get-go.
Yeah, and they've not forced a lot of turnovers, and when they have, Findlay's done a great job defensively of getting back. And you see here, Findlay's just content to spread out that Whitmer defense and attack the gaps when they can. Montgomery, I think they wanted the reach-in call. Not going to be obliged by the official. What a great, like we said, what a great contributor off the bench. They're a leading rebounder and leading assist man a year ago.
Findlay's got another chance here to push their lead to double digits. Javante Hill with the basketball. Did a good job attacking the rim early and trying to get at the free throw line. Ball knocked away from behind by Leach. A scramble for the loose basketball, getting on the floor, and Findlay's going to maintain possession.
I think this game means a lot to these two teams. They know what's at stake. Early season supremacy in the NLL Buckeye division. I think we're going to get a really ticky-tack foul on Antoine West there.
It feels just like when they meet on the gridiron. Always a war. This was exciting when both of these teams were able to join the Northern Lakes League, coming over from the Three Rivers Athletic Conference, along with Fremont Ross and Clay. Good pump fake by Cordonier, and Leach will get the personal.
Again, I think that this is going to be such an interesting evening with how we've started here, because Whitmer, offensively, it's just come so easy to you. Defensively, you really haven't had to worry about it just because you soared at such a high clip, but now you see here, Makai Leach with the foul. You got yourself in a little bit of foul trouble. You've really allowed this Findlay team to operate offensively with relative ease, and offensively you've struggled. So how are you going to step up? Like we said, a lot of new faces, a lot of new people working together. How does that go?
Leach has the only bucket for Whitmer so far on the fast break dunk. And McLeod put it on the floor. This foul going against Brody Barnes, 5'10" senior.
And I've been looking forward to seeing McLeod, the senior transfer from Wasion, averaging about 14 and a half a game, nearly 50% from three. Just has not been able to get a clean look against this man-to-man defense from Findlay. Again, very physical on the perimeter and have closed those driving lanes quickly.
In the corner, now back out high. The three, no. Findlay's going to take that look. They're going to force Whitmer to have to try and beat him from the perimeter. And who's going to slow up Ryan Montgomery? Nobody, but he's too hard off the window. From the corner, good one to go down for Andre Young III. Young on the season, the numbers he's put up, 9.5 points a game. That was just his third three. He has not shot it very well from there, now 3 out of 13.
And the youngest player in that starting lineup, that veteran starting lineup for Whitmer, with the big bucket when they desperately needed something to go their way.
So for the Panthers, that bucket that you just saw a moment ago, the Andre Young three, was their first point since the opening minute of the ballgame. That extra pass from Makai Leach that set it up.
I think that's really important to see that extra pass there, because at times, like we said, when the ball sticks offensively or you don't get a lot of movement, Whitmer will struggle offensively. But they're going to find themselves in some trouble here already. Findlay inching closer to being in the bonus. 3 fouls already on Whitmer with just 2 minutes gone by.
Javante Hill, that's one that he would like back, and it appears as though he took a shot around the waist. Still noticeably coming up the floor, limping. On the backside, Wyrow comes down with the board, gets by the defense, and Findlay out and running. Good job to take away that backside pass, otherwise it might have been a layup for Cordonier. Ernst, pull up, no, he's going to try and scoop and score. West. Oh, the pass thrown behind Elijah McLeod, and the lane actually opened up there for West. He might have had a chance to take that all the way in.
Well, and if he would have, Wyrow was planted directly in front of him, and I don't know if you saw it there at the end, but Wyrow went flying, was ready to take that charge. He's been impressive defensively so far in this one. Antoine West, nearly 25 a game, held scoreless.
Underneath, Ernst. That's good execution by the Trojans running their offense.
Well, and they're just running a simple flex offense, and they have just hit Whitmer with that baseline cutter now 2 or 3 times for easy looks or easy buckets.
And West works his way baseline. Cordonier came over to help. Andre Young's got a good look. Just can't knock it down. And Tamarion Davis wrapped up Cordonier coming down with that rebound.
I mean, we knew it coming in that Findlay defensively was going to be impressive, but I have been just floored at what they're doing. You see here, Cordonier, I mean, that's absolutely a foul with the hand around the waist. I know Davis didn't like the call, but Whitmer's going to find themselves in a bit of a pickle. Next foul puts them at the line.
Three minutes into the second, ball out of bounds. Back to Whitmer.
And it's crazy to say, but it feels like this lead could be even more for Findlay. They've had some turnovers to start this second quarter where they've had opportunities to maybe extend the lead. So you've got to be very careful because of how dynamic Whitmer is offensively. When they do start clicking, which you feel like it's probably a matter of time before they go on some kind of run, you're going to want as big of a lead as you could possibly get.
Ben Best back on the floor for Findlay, and Clay returns for Whitmer. And now Antoine West is going to be tended to. He did not want to come out.
I think he's either got a little bit of blood on his arm or blood on his jersey that he's just got to wipe off before they're going to let him back on the floor.
So you thought Andre Young might get a rest for a moment. He goes to the scorer's table. McLeod trying to make the handoff. And a good job to come to it and take it right to the rack, Andre Young III.
He's been about all Whitmer has had offensively, like we said, since about the 7-minute mark of that first quarter, and didn't seem like a lot of contact on that. I think Cordonier was hoping he'd get away with maybe just that little ticky-tack touch, but in a game like this, they're calling everything real tight because they don't want to get it out of control. They know how physical both these teams love to play.
Young, 9 out of 11 at the free throw line coming in. Could not complete the three-point play. We're midway through this second quarter, and Findlay has doubled up the Panthers. No good for Wyrau. Battle for the board, and trying to come out of there with it was Young. Cordonier's going to get a clean look just off the mark. And Hill hustles into the Whitmer bench to try and save it. It will be Findlay basketball.
And Findlay is just hustling all over the floor, and I'm going to say it again. They got to feel great about where they're at right now, up 7. It feels like it could be worse. There was another bucket just rimmed out from Wyrau. He's played fantastic in this first half.
Lob in, Cordonier pump fake, and score. How many times have we seen it where Findlay has gotten at least the shot they want on the inbounds?
Well, and that was great fundamental footwork. He stuck that foot in the ground and turned.
Deep three, Antoine West, his first points.
And you wonder, does that get the superstar going?
35% from 3 on the season. One-on-one up top. Wyrau goes right at West. Had the ball stripped. Leach in the open floor. He'll jump stop in the lane and lay it up and in. 4-point ball game as we near the 3-minute mark.
Boy, we knew the run was coming. We just got to see, can Findlay sustain what's going on?
Montgomery to the basket. Offensive foul. Sam just took the charge that time.
It's great work by the senior stepping in front of the D1 QB, taking the charge there. Play some really important minutes for Whitmer.
Findlay's lead starting to slip away. We get a timeout. Brought to you by Genoa Bank. This will be a full timeout. Panthers within 4. .304 remaining in the first half, and what was a 9-point lead for the Findlay Trojans has been cut down to 4. Antoine West drops the 3 for his first points of the game. Leach gets to the basket, and Andre Young was the guy who started the charge here.
Well, we'll see if Antoine West can continue to get it going. He wants to be isolated on the wing.
Whitmer continues the run. This time it's Elijah McLeod with his first points.
And that's what he brings to the table. He's such a great three-point shooter. Just way too much space on that play. Findlay's got to right the ship here. Offensively, take a little time on the clock maybe. Just get a nice, easy look, and defensively lock it in like they did for much of that first half.
As you saw, Findlay has yet to hit from distance. Whitmer, 3 triples. Wyrau underneath, count the bucket and the foul. That was a man's move by Luke Wyrau.
Well, that was a man's move, and that was a man's
And the foul number 5.
flex afterwards where he just turned to the back of Sam Just and let him hear about it. Wyrau just did a great job of creating the contact and then finishing through it. And then you see there the turnaround. Just letting Mr. Just know. He was very excited that that went in.
Luke Wyrau, a key guy in the return. He has raised his scoring numbers from a season ago. You remember, Findlay as a team is trying to fill the void of Jake Bishop, who was their leading scorer last season. Jake Bishop now playing at the University of Findlay. From the corner, wide open look. And Cordonier able to pull in the rebound with his size.
Well, and Findlay lucked out there because they left McLeod all alone.
Put it on the floor. Again, Findlay cannot hit from distance. And we get a blocking foul. A wave off the bucket.
Wyrau did a nice job to try to get back in front of West. West created that contact just by the drive and in those 50-50 calls, but the right one there. See if we can get Leach going for Whitmer. Outside of that dunk, has not been able to get anything going offensively, averaging 17 a game.
Pull up 3, West. Even though he's very capable of that shot, I'm not sure that was the best shot for Whitmer right now.
That's a shot you can get whenever you want. You want to move the basketball. When you've moved it, made the extra pass, you've really stressed this Findlay defense out.
Anthony Stacy begging for a traveling call there against Hill. Officials say he just kept the pivot foot.
Oh, and he had a case there because it looked like he dragged it just a tad. Findlay doing a good job here of taking care of the basketball, trying to run down this clock.
Nice find. Ryan Montgomery underneath, puts it up and in.
That's a great finish. And you look at that guy and you think, man, that's a D1 quarterback. And on top of that, he just plays great basketball. I love to see a kid like that who's still playing ball for his high school.
A steal by Cordonier. Looking inside. Pass tipped. West trying to save it. Officials say he had a foot out of bounds. Stays with Findlay.
And if you're Findlay, don't be scared to be content to hold this for one. To go in with any kind of lead, I think if you're a coach, rookie would be a plus in this matchup.
Javante Hill right to the rack with a two-hand flush.
You can take that too. That'd be nice.
Under 30 seconds, and Findlay has responded with a 7-0 run after Whitmer got within one.
Well, and I know we don't keep stats on this, but Findlay has absolutely killed Whitmer on out-of-bounds plays. It feels like they have scored on 2 or 3 under and side out of bounds, and they have just taken Whitmer to the woodshed on those.
And Brandon, to be fair, it's not like Whitmer's been close to contest things on the inbounds. They have been almost wide open looks.
And a lot of that is scouting. You got to be prepared for those looks. Oh,
almost a takeaway. Gonna launch the 3 left wing and rattle it in. Clay gives Whitmer their 4th 3. So Whitmer gets the final bucket of the first half. Panthers staying in it with their shots from long range. Findlay, though, for what they went through in that second quarter. They were able to respond. Javante Hill, the dunk right there, he's got 5 points in the ball game, while Findlay sits on a 5-point lead midway through this NLL showdown.
Hi, my the benefits of Buckeye Broadband and us to focus on what we did everything when they said they were going to do it, how they said they were.
Wing.
My name's Jay Hansen with Salem Financial. The benefits that Buckeye Broadband business brings to our company is it allows us to focus on what we do well. I would absolutely recommend Buckeye Broadband business. They did everything when they said they were going to do it, how they said they were going to do it, and on budget.
Halftime here at the Whitmer Fieldhouse. Findlay 23, Whitmer 18. Panthers have trailed by as many as 9 multiple times in this ball game. They got to within 1 before Findlay was able to put a 7-0 run together and work a 5-point lead into the locker room. Taking a look at some of the first half highlights from Whitmer. They started very slow outside of that opening minute dunk from Mekhi Leach.
Yeah, that was about it for Whitmer for the entirety of the first quarter until Antoine West and Andre Young got it going a little bit near the end. You had the threes from McLeod as well, but the three-point line was about all Whitmer could get outside of the dunk. But Findlay has been really impressive on both ends of the floor.
They have been attacking the paint early and often, getting layups, getting high percentage looks. Got the finish there from Cordonier. Wyrau, he's been up to the challenge from the beginning. He's been letting Whitmer know about it.
I feel like this Findlay team has employed a strategy against Whitmer over the last few years where they've really tried to spread them out and make them defend one-on-one in space, and Findlay continues to do that to Whitmer tonight, and they've just struggled to do so, especially without fouling.
The turnovers combined 20 in that first half. Whichever team can limit those in the second half, you got to like their chances just to make more opportunities on possessions.
Well, yeah, and you'd think a lot of those turnovers, it felt like were kind of scrums going back and forth where it was a quick turnover one way and then a quick turnover back the other way. It wasn't the cleanest of halves, I think, for either team. I think both programs probably walked off the floor feeling like that wasn't their best half of basketball. But if you're Findlay, you're going to take a lead like this against a team of Whitmer's caliber right now.
It may even be a bit more of a surprise to see Findlay leading when they haven't had success from distance, something they've been very good at throughout the first 4 games.
And I think the other stat to look at when you see there is Whitmer has 1 offensive rebound. Findlay has done a great job of forcing difficult shots and limiting any kind of second chance opportunity for Whitmer. And it's not that Whitmer necessarily goes after those offensive boards. They're used to scoring in transition a lot as well, and Findlay has limited those opportunities. So when you take away the easy buckets that you get on second chance opportunities and in transition, going to make it tough offensively for this Whitmer squad.
Well, this halftime update has been brought to you by Appliance Center, Ohio's largest furniture, mattress, and appliance superstore. Your score at the break: Findlay 23, Whitmer 18 here on BCSN. Both Whitmer and Findlay have returned to the floor, loosening up for the start of the third quarter, which will be coming your way momentarily. We look back, coming into this matchup, this is a battle of the unbeatens. Findlay 4-0, Whitmer 5-0. One of these two teams is going to walk out of here 2-0 in the Buckeye Division so far.
Well, yeah, and you think these two teams coming into the year, you had Whitmer picked to win the Buckeye Division. Findlay was expected to finish third behind Perrysburg, but Findlay, I think, has been the surprise so far. And this win, if they were able to pull this off, obviously a long way to go before that happens. But if you're able to do that this early in the year, you really put the pressure on the Panthers and the other teams within that Buckeye division to really have to come up with wins and have to knock you off. And then seconding that, Whitmer only gets one more shot at you, and it's at your place late in the year.
That second meeting between the Panthers and the Trojans will come up in the first week of February. February 9th. Remember, this is a Findlay team that was 16-8 last year, 10-4 in the track, and ended up losing on a dagger in the final seconds in the district semifinal on a shot from C.J. Hornbeek, who's now playing his college basketball at Lake Erie College.
And that was an absolutely fantastic game, and I don't think it can go understated how impressive it is what Findlay's doing early this year, because Jake Bishop did just everything for this Findlay team. He was their point guard, he was their leading scorer, he was their best shooter.
That was West in the corner, rebounded by Hill.
He really was the cog in that engine that made it go, and you see here without him, they really haven't lost any steam, and I think specifically defensively is where they've really continued to shine. And when you lose a scorer of his magnitude, if you're able to defend well, you see what can happen.
Wyrow attacks, pump fake, two defenders there, and it drops. Wyrow's got 9 points to lead everyone.
It's a great take by Wyrow, and smart move by West and Leach not to foul.
Young, free throw line, can't get it to roll over the front of the iron.
It's a tough pull-up jump shot on a dime there from Young. Played well in that first half for Whitmer. Gave him a little bit of a spark when they were really out of sorts offensively for much of the half.
Open in the corner. You'll take that look all day, and Ben Best knocking it down for his first points. And by the way, Findlay's first three of the night.
And that might make this lead even more impressive, the fact that that's their first three, where Whitmer has been living from the three-point line.
Whitmer had 14 three-point attempts in the first half, knocked down 4 of them. Findlay's now 1 out of 5. Good job by Hill to go get that rebound.
Well, and Findlay's going to be completely content to let West shoot from the volleyball line if that's what he chooses to do so. As we said in the first half, that's a shot you can get anytime you want.
Young's got the steal. He'll lay it home.
And that's where I think the Panthers really need to step up defensively. Try to turn this Findlay team over. Get some easy buckets against their guards. I like the double team here as well.
Ernst, good look up ahead. Gets Cordonier a layup. That was a great decision. Just a little hesitation there by Ernst. Open things up for Cordonier.
Yeah, it was that pivot back that really got all of the Panthers up court, and then Cordonier just stayed deep.
Another Whitmer three, another miss. Hill up ahead, Cordonier running the floor. And he's going to be rewarded with 2 free throws.
Cordonier is really, like we said, a year ago, you and I had this Findlay team multiple times, was more or less a catch and shoot 3-point guy. You know, he had a little bit of pizzazz to him, could take it here and there, but you see tonight, he's done all of his damage around the rim, and that's been really important and impressive for this Findlay team, because not only is he getting to the free throw line, he's getting this Whitmer team in foul trouble and getting his team to the line, getting to that 5 foul mark early in all the quarters so far.
It's noticeable the work that Cordonier has done in the weight room. Here's Javante Hill with the steal. Tried to find Ernst along the baseline, couldn't connect, and it will be Panthers basketball.
And that's that turnover we talked about at half, where Findlay, it seems like defensively, has forced some of those and then just given the ball away. Really another one. You know what they say, a lot of times teams that like to press do not like to be pressed, and you're seeing that right now from the Panthers.
Whitmer's got a great chance here, 3-on-1. Layup for McLeod.
That's the man's hands you want to get it into. Antoine West. He's so good offensively, and when he's sharing the basketball, it makes him so difficult to defend.
Ernst down the lane, scoops it up and in.
What a take from Ernst.
He knew he was going to be under heavy ball pressure here tonight, and he has handled himself well. West comes up short.
Just bodies in front of West when he attacks the rim.
Wyrow had it knocked away by Leach. Leach is going to go to the corner. Findlay's going to be able to get back here, and they're going to force Whitmer to have to execute in the half court as Wyrow slapped it out of bounds.
Great defense by Leach and great defense by Wyrow. You're seeing just a lot of guys giving it all physically for these two teams.
Young, out top, West, top of the arc triple.
And those are the threes I like for West. When he gets his feet set, these three-point line are just a little bit extended. He doesn't need to take them from as deep as he does. I know it's showy. I know those are the ones that make the highlight reels, but he's such a good shooter when he's at the three-point line.
Right down Main Street for Ernst.
The hero of the third quarter so far.
Young spins off of Hill, kicks it out to West. West surrounded, throws it away. You are looking at the largest lead of the game right now for Findlay, midway through this third quarter.
Well, and you see there the turnover numbers, 11 for Findlay and 13 for Whitmer. It has not been clean by any means, either way. But Findlay just continues defensively to get Whitmer all out of sorts.
Brandon, not taking anything away from Findlay. Both these schools face this today. You're out of school. Did you like or hate this situation as a coach when you've got a big game and you don't have one of your normal mornings where you get into school and get the and one there?
Antoine West seems to feel fine, but I gotta say, it's always tough in a great Euro step finish through the contact of Wyrow. Good finish by Antoine West, but I think you'd ask any coach, you like the routines. You want the day with the routines. You want just a normal school day, a normal Friday. These are always the weird ones. You know, when you take a team on a trip somewhere, our team went to Florida a couple times. I know that both these teams play holiday tournaments around the area. When you throw out a weird game time or anything like that, it just creates just a different feel that a lot of times players do not respond to particularly well. And you might have seen that for a lot of this one with the turnovers being such, so prevalent so far.
Whitmer's now 0 of 2 at the line compared to Findlay's 7 out of 9. Hill is one-on-one with McLeod. He's going to attack and get all the way to the rack.
It's a great take by Hill, and they continue to just try and put Whitmer on islands defensively.
Almost turned over by Leach. McLeod left wing, a little bit strong, and Ernst unable to box out Clay.
That's one of the few second chance opportunities that Findlay has given up.
Step back three. Unable to draw iron. Findlay smart to slow it up here inside of 3 minutes to play in the third.
And Whitmer's just got to be careful. You don't want the lead to get too much higher than where you're at right now. You're going to make it tough against this Findlay defense to get back into this game.
Hill's going to launch. Okay, Javonte Hill in double figures after that three. Findlay goes up 14. Full timeout. Findlay has started to find the range in this second half, and they have opened up the scoring. It's the Trojans by a pair of touchdowns. Findlay so far in this third quarter, +9 on the scoreboard. 41-27 with 2:38 left. Trojans handling their business on the road. Whitmer's got to find a way to at least maybe get this down to single digits going into the fourth.
You haven't seen Whitmer run a lot of sets. They tried to get into horns action there just to get something organized offensively.
The bounce pass was deflected, picked up by Hill. This is where more frustration builds. You have to work. Ooh, that looked like that may have been tipped.
Oh, I thought it was tipped for sure.
And the baseline official didn't have a great look at it. It was the sideline official coming up the floor who made the call. And I don't think there's any room here to have this overturned, although Findlay's going to plead their case. But you didn't have another set of eyes on it. This is going to be Whitmer basketball.
And this is not, you don't want to come at an official ever, but that baseline official was really deep underneath the basket. You can see him. He's almost out of the shot there. Yeah, I thought Tamarion Davis got a hand on it.
Tamarion Davis sold it pretty well there if he did or did not touch it.
He most certainly did.
And McLeod pushing it to the corner. Remember, folks, Findlay has yet to give up more than 40 points in a game this season. Whitmer averages 81 a game through the first 5. And the spin, Hill, we're going to say he was held up.
Oh, I think they called a foul there.
Yeah, they grabbed the jersey.
Well, and if we're being frank right now, I think you're seeing Findlay's playing, and we're going to give our colleague and good friend Rhett Boyd some credit. They're playing really good team basketball right now, and you can see they've come in with a game plan, and they're executing to a team. They scored off nearly another inbounds play.
West tried to go right at Hill, turns it over. Cordonier had the time but couldn't knock it down. Montgomery tied up. There's 3 Panthers there, and Ryan Montgomery's the one that picked it up.
Well, Ryan Montgomery got that offensive rebound and had bad intentions. He was looking for a body to hit. And he got right into the chest of Mekhi Leach. And we'll see, does Findlay continue to out-execute this Panther team on the inbounds?
Taken away by Leach. And no one's going to touch him. He's going to throw it down with 2 hands.
And you'd think or you'd hope that would get Mekhi Leach going. Has had a tough night offensively so far in this one.
4 of his 6 points have been on dunks. First basket of the game and then moments ago. The kick to the corner. Nothing but nylon. Ben Best.
Ben Best has 2 threes from the exact same spot on the floor. 2 very timely 3-pointers.
West, no. Rebounded by Montgomery. And a Whitmer foul. This is a Whitmer team looking for answers right now. And, you know, when you starting to see Findlay continue to pile up points, yes, you get the dunk there. But, hey, the 3 was the great answer from Ben Best.
Well, let's go back to the keys of the game that we talked about coming into this. Whitmer wanted to get off to a quick start. They did not. They wanted to control the tempo. Let's be frank, they absolutely have not. And they wanted to make Findlay uncomfortable. And once again, they have not. So your 3 keys to the game that you needed to do, Whitmer, you have not been able to execute. So now you've got to look for some different answers. How do you get this Findlay team uncomfortable when they are rolling?
How about that denial by Leach? Findlay, though, still maintains possession. And they can take it to the fourth quarter here and get the final shot. Able to find Hill. Ooh, thinking about letting it go. Down to 7 seconds. Pull up. Montgomery's follow, no. And Leach will launch. Oh, off the back rim. That would have been from 3/4 court had that gone. Instead, Findlay is going to the fourth quarter with a 15-point advantage. The Trojans outscore Whitmer by 10 in the third quarter. 44-29 your score. We'll see if the Trojans can close it out.
This BCSN broadcast is brought to you by Dave White Chevrolet. The place to go is Alexis and Monroe. DaveWhiteChevy.com. And by Sean's Irish Tavern. Locally owned and operated. Proud to be active members of the Northwest Ohio community.
We'll see how much time Findlay starts to use up on the clock on every possession with the fourth quarter underway. And the Trojans up by 15.
Well, there's a couple of coaches around here. Jim Rookie is one of them who I would not want to face down double digits in a fourth quarter because he is going to take advantage, and you see it there with the back cut from Hill.
Great ball movement, good cut to the basket, layup plus the foul. Javonte Hill's got a dozen. He'll be looking for a baker's dozen right here.
It just continues to be really impressive team basketball from this Findlay team. I didn't know what to expect with them coming into this one. You know, their wins, they're 4-0, but had they really beat any major opponents? But they have shown up tonight in an impressive fashion.
Anthony Wayne was Findlay's most impressive win coming in here, and the Trojans beat him by 30. And they turn one stop into an easy layup at the other end for Ernst.
Well, Ernst is going to get the credit for the bucket, but Wyrau fought through the double team and ripped the ball out of the hands of his defenders to find the cutting Ernst.
And who would have thought we'd be looking at a 20-point Trojans lead in the opening minute of the fourth?
Well, look at that double team. You had Leach and West, and Wyrau came out on top.
Damian Clay back in for Whitmer. Findlay's going to bring back Ryan Montgomery.
And you and I just keep looking at one another and almost with those like high eyebrows of just, I don't think we ever thought that Findlay couldn't win this game, but the way that it has gone, I don't think either you or I expected.
Exact opposite to script. And Montgomery's going to get the rebound.
And that's another piece right there for Findlay. They have not given up easy buckets for Whitmer. They've turned the ball over, yes, but they haven't been a lot of live ball turnovers. They have not given up second chance opportunities. And they have just played a really solid, well thought out basketball game here tonight. You can tell they came in with a game plan, and they have executed to a T.
Whitmer, the favorite in the Buckeye division. Findlay was picked third. This the first of two meetings. As the lane opened up for Ryan Montgomery, he was grabbed. I believe this foul goes against West, and it is his second personal.
And here's the thing. I think you and I are still a little bit on the edge of our seats here because if there is a team that has the offensive firepower to get back into a game quickly, you're looking at them, but they have just looked all out of sorts, and we're going to have another impound easy look for Findlay.
Patterson was able to stop Wyrau from finishing, and it will be Panthers basketball. And back comes Javonte Hill. Going to give a nice hand to Ben Best as he goes to the bench. Two big threes in that third quarter.
And I'm going to give him a ton of credit for the three he passed up as well to make the extra pass to get the look to Hill.
Findlay did not have a three in the first half. They had 3 threes in the third quarter. Whitmer, 4 threes in the first half, 1 in this second half.
It's just been an impressive showing so far for the Trojans. And that vaunted Whitmer offense has just struggled throughout this game.
How many times have we just seen Whitmer let one go from beyond the arc? Panthers have shot 2 free throws tonight.
Well, and part of that is a testament to what did Findlay, or what were they willing to give up? They were willing to test Whitmer's ability to hit threes. You notice they haven't given McLeod a lot of looks from 3. He's the premier three-point shooter for this Whitmer squad.
The follow-up slam. Javonte Hill came out of nowhere. My goodness. And West at the other end is fouled, but the Findlay stands just exploded. And here's why. Off the miss from Cordonier, flying in, Javonte Hill stuffs it home with the left hand.
Wow. Look at that. That's nearly at the top of the square when he found a way to get that. Just wow.
That is one of the most impressive plays I've seen from Javonte Hill, going back to even the season opener against Central Catholic in football when he went up, pulled in a one-handed grab, and it led to a touchdown. Mekhi Leach with that bucket to give him 8 points, but it is Findlay by 20 with just over 5 to play. Ball knocked out of the hands of Cordonier, stays with the Trojans. And we just got a tee. Antoine West, a little push there against Cordonier. That just shows the frustration that Whitmer has had tonight.
Well, and it felt like at some point it was probably going to boil over one way or the other for either one of these teams. This has been a really intense matchup. And just you see the extra little shove there from West is what got him the tee.
Cordonier, the technical free throws, good on the first. Findlay is 9 of 11 at the line with one more to come.
They just have played a very clean basketball game in a lot of ways. And like we said, the turnover numbers were high. They were. But it wasn't a lot of live ball turnovers.
And it didn't lead to points off turnovers for the Panthers.
And that's the big thing. They got back defensively every time, and they closed the lane. They made it tough, and they forced Whitmer to take really deep threes. And now they are just going to be content to put defense on islands and spread this Whitmer team out.
Ernst, guarded by Young. Findlay just continues to melt the clock away. Under 5.
You think Whitmer would want to try and send a double team. Ooh, bad turnover by Findlay.
Clay, 3, no. Tipped, finds the hands of Leach, who quickly puts it up and in. Leach, the first Panther to get into double figures. But right now, that's not a stat that matters. Whitmer trails by 19 with 4.5 to play. Full timeout, 4.5 to play. 52-33. Findlay right where they want to be. Trojans by 19 here in the fourth. Whitmer extending their full court defense, but the Trojans, for the most part, have been able to handle any kind of trapping, any kind of full court extension. Cordonier handling up top, does find Montgomery, and his pass cross court. That was dangerous there. Clay and Hill going after it. That was more scary for you and I. That could have been one heck of a collision.
Yeah, it looked like it was about to be.
Up ahead, you get Young, back out to Leach. Deep 3, rattles it in.
Leach has most definitely not given up on this one. He continues to play really well defensively and offensively.
Nice Euro step and finish. Javonte Hill just adds to his night, 17 points. Corner 3 is well short.
Well, Hill with the defensive play after the offensive take, and he is very fired up.
This is the final game of a 3-game road trip for the Trojans. As Montgomery goes hard to the bucket, gets the and one.
Oh, boy. And there you go. D1 football prospect versus D1 football prospect. Probably about 70 offers on the table between those two guys.
That may not be the last time they meet.
I would not think so, but Montgomery with the win there. What a finish through the 6'7" Carter Lowe.
Ryan Montgomery just completed the three-point play, giving 5 points for the ball game. Both guys are juniors on the football field, so they will see one another next year. And who knows, could be for a Northern Lakes League title. We're going to watch Javante Hill, another highlight here tonight. Watch the Euro step. Went right by Lowe.
And then I think he was really excited to let the Whitmer fans know about his offensive success tonight.
Elijah McLeod finally gets some space for a three and hits. The lob up to Hill at the other end. And up top, off the back rim for McLeod, tipped out. Whitmer's got another chance here. Under 3 to play, and Leach commits the foul. That's team foul number 5. Findlay in the bonus the rest of the way.
And I don't feel bad saying this, but a year ago when you looked at this Findlay team, it felt like it was Jake Bishop and a lot of other guys. Well, those lot of other guys have really come into their own.
This has been a Findlay statement in Whitmer's house.
And I don't feel odd saying this, but you and I, in talking before this one, I don't think we ever doubted that Findlay could get it done, that they had, the defensive prowess to finish this and potentially get a win. But if you would have told either you or I before this game that we were going to be looking at a 20-point game in the fourth quarter, I don't think we would have thought that Findlay would have been the team with that kind of lead just because of how they play. But they have really, pressed their will onto this game with how they've played defensively. They've really stressed Whitmer offensively, and they have just controlled the tempo throughout.
Clay out to the wing. McLeod says, why not? And Lowe over the back of Cordonier, with Findlay having this game well in hand. Let's look ahead for the two teams, starting with Findlay, who's on their way to improving to 5-0 overall and 2-0 in the Buckeye division. Findlay, next up, returns home to take on Lima Senior a week from today. That will be another showdown, and it is every year, no matter what's on the line between those two programs. After that game, Findlay goes back on the road the next day to take on St. Mary's.
Oh, and I'm looking even a little bit further ahead, and you've got Ottawa Glandorf looming in mid-January as well. That's a team that year in and year out is one of the best.
Always sold out, too.
And this is a Findlay team that right now, this is such a statement win in Northwest Ohio, because this Panther team looked like, they were, a step above the rest. And this is going to be a humbling experience, but you really wonder, how do you answer it? And I think this will say a lot about this Whitmer team, because we know they have the talent. How often do you see a team truly go undefeated for a year? You're going to take some losses, but I think it's really, do you learn from your mistakes, and can you grow and get better? And if Whitmer can, they're going to be still one of the most dangerous teams, not just in Northwest Ohio, but the state.
Hill out top, Wyrow. Leach the foul. 2 free throws for Luke Wyrow. Whitmer, following this game, will be in Sandusky for a holiday tournament. They've got Lorraine on December 28th. Their second opponent to be determined, part of that back-to-back tournament. One more for Wyrow.
And I do think it's got to be noted, too, that Whitmer, and this is not an excuse, but Whitmer, we know, was dealing with some issues this week in terms of just the flu and some sickness that was going through their team. So, when you've got a weird practice week, you don't have everybody available, and then maybe on top of that, you've got a day like today where you didn't have school. That's going to throw you out of the loop a little bit, but this is, regardless of that, Findlay showed up tonight, and they wanted this one, and they have impressed to the max.
This is the second most points put up against Whitmer this season. Lima Senior put up 74 in an overtime loss to the Panthers.
And I got to give Makai Leach a ton of credit because he continues to fight and continues to get after it on both ends of the floor with this Panther squad.
Beck Garmong into the game. Able to get that bucket to go. Three for Leach. And Leach has got 16 points tonight. Findlay just cannot wait for time to expire. Layup good. Hudson Yeager.
And this is kind of just how tonight has gone in a nutshell.
Three for Leach.
And that young man has continued to impress. Like we mentioned, he had that dunk to start the game and then really struggled for most of the first half. But this second half has showed up and played well.
Less than 30 seconds. Findlay Trojans are going to hand Whitmer their first loss, and it's going to be a Buckeye Division loss. A reminder, these two teams meet again February 9th down in Findlay.
That puts Findlay firmly at the top of the Buckeye Division and evens just about everybody else out.
This helps out Perrysburg's cause. The Jackets had lost to Whitmer Tuesday night. And Findlay letting Whitmer know about it. 67-45 the final. Findlay now 5-0, 2-0 in the division. Whitmer drops to 5-1 with their first loss and 1-1 in divisional play. Let's take you through tonight's player of the game, brought to you by Car Stereo One, Toledo's newest one-stop shop for all your vehicles needs. Turtle. And you got to go to Javante Hill. He put on a show tonight.
He absolutely did, and I got to give the young man credit again from a year ago to now to see his growth, specifically offensively, has been impressive. You know, he's hitting from three. It's the dunks. That dunk in particular was one of the more impressive things that I've seen this season. It's his ability to tack the rim. It's his ability to handle the basketball. And when a team loses a player like Jake Bishop, you're looking for answers. And I feel like Findlay has really found one in Javante.